The AI nightmare credentials of the Matrix are all wrapped up in a jaw-dropping revelation, and I'll try not to unveil that revelation, just in case you haven't seen this 1999 classic yet. But I will try to add to the long list of inspirations that inspired The Matrix, using the print section of my own media memorabilia collection. The Matrix was the brainchild of two brothers, Larry and Andy Wachowski, who these days are the Wachowski sisters, Lana and Lily. They were bouncing off the critical acclaim that welcomed their first co-written and co-directed feature, Bound. Warner Brothers had acquired the rights to both Bound and The Matrix in 1994, and the success of the former effectively greenlighted the latter. Casting for the lead role of Neo began as early as 1996 and initially focused on the rising star of Will Smith. But as Smith willingly acknowledges, he failed to grasp the full potential of The Matrix and ultimately turned down the part of Neo. Leonardo DiCaprio was then offered the role, but he too found reasons not to accept. The final battle was a clash between two sets of brothers and two big stars of the 1990s. The Warner Brothers studio wanted Keanu Reeves to play Neo, but the Wachowskis preferred Johnny Depp. In the end, the studio would have its way. The Wachowskis, who were both big comic book fans, hired comic book artists Jeff Darrow and Steve Skroce to illustrate a lavish, shot-by-shot storyboard of the film. This helped to flesh out their vision for certain stuffy Warner executives who were like,
"Okay, now we know we've bought something cool. We don't know what it is.
Could you just take us through it once?"
They helped translate the movie for us.
This was a masterstroke that helped to dispel any lingering doubts Warner executives might have about the brothers' ability to pull off this complex production. Now it was decided to shoot in Sydney, Australia, to get the maximum bang for each buck out of that $60 million budget.
I know Kung Fu.
Show me.
The Wachowskis could have taken the easy road and hired martial arts-trained doubles for the action scenes. But the fight scenes that you get in The Matrix are mostly performed by the actors themselves. The brothers managed to hire Hong Kong's master choreographer, Yuen Wu Ping, to oversee the martial arts training of the main cast, even though he worried that the actors may not be fit enough for the intense training he would put them through. He and his team trained the Matrix actors for 5 long months on a daily basis to get them to an acceptable martial arts skill level.
It was a tremendous hardship, but it is evident on the film when you see it that that's Laurence and that's Carrie-Anne and that is Keanu in those scenes doing that stuff, and it's astounding.
And equally outstanding are those amazing special effects.
Bullet time, registered trademark.
Which were groundbreaking in their time.
Enter the Gator.
But in a nutshell, what exactly is bullet time?
Bullet time is a stylistic way of showing that you're in a constructed reality and that time and space are not the same as, here, us today living our lives.
The influences of The Matrix are many and span all forms of visual and printed media. They include heavy philosophical works such as Simulacra and Simulation by Jean Baudrillard. Japanese anime is also an influence, along with pulp Hollywood films like Total Recall, made almost 10 years before The Matrix, and which includes its very own red pill scene.
What is it?
It's a symbol of your desire to return to reality. Inside your dream, you'll fall asleep.
The true influence comes not from the film itself, though, but from Philip K. Dick's novella, We Can Remember It For You Wholesale, an author of whom the Wachowskis were fans, and which was the source material for Total Recall.
And I could pull his trigger?
The Matrix already has a long list of influences, but I think that I might be able to add to it through the printed memorabilia that I have in my media collection. After they completed work on the Matrix trilogy in 2003, the Wachowskis co-wrote and co-produced V for Vendetta, based on the graphic novel by Alan Moore and David Lloyd. That colorized graphic novel was largely created for US audiences, but its original form was a black and white strip in the British monthly anthology comic Warrior, which I suspect the Wachowskis were aware of back in the 80s. But V for Vendetta isn't the only strip that Alan Moore wrote for Warrior. He also wrote Marvel Man, which is often retitled as Miracle Man outside the UK. In issue 17 of Warrior from March 1984, an episode of Marvel Man titled The Red King Syndrome occasionally echoes in The Matrix. In the story, the Marvel Man family is part of a long-term scientific study of which they are blissfully unaware. Their lives are simply the product of a computer-generated guidance program which shields them from the truth. but their subconscious minds are increasingly trying to wake them up to that truth through absurdity and impossibility. The title of the episode is a reference to Alice in Wonderland, a book that The Matrix references multiple times. This film has influenced many others in its stead, not least in its groundbreaking creation of bullet time. The Matrix DVD and my other memorabilia are prized items in my collection, and the film more than deserves its place in this series. You've just watched the third episode of Hollywood's AI Nightmares, which also includes videos on Terminator 2 Judgment Day, Westworld, The Terminator, and Colossus the Forbin Project.